I'm Laurel, 34, female, and I co-founded a boutique marketing firm with 2 friends about 6 years ago. We work with high-end brands, mostly luxury hospitality, fashion, and wellness. I think designer hotel chains, niche skincare lines, or European luggage startups that want to break into the North American market. Our work is intense, creative, and fast-paced. We're not just making pretty ads for Instagram. We build full campaigns, manage digital strategy, oversee influencer partnerships, and sometimes even sit in on product development meetings. None of that has ever mattered to my older sister Nadine. She's 36, a pediatric surgeon, and she's always made it clear that her job is the only one in the family that counts as real. For over a decade, at every family dinner or holiday gathering, she'd toss out comments like clockwork. When Laurel gets tired of playing entrepreneur, maybe she'll get a real job, or how many TikToks did you make this week? It was like a running joke, but not funny. Our parents never addressed it directly. They'd just glance at each other, smile awkwardly, and try to steer the conversation somewhere else. I'd usually just let it roll off, maybe throw back a sarcastic line if I was in the mood. But the truth is, those comments always hit harder than I let on, especially after weeks where I barely had time to sleep. It didn't matter how many contracts I closed or how much revenue we brought in. To Nadine, I was still just running some Instagram ad hobby. Her husband, Miles, is a different story. He's 38, has an MBA, and he's spent the past few years bouncing between startups and freelance consulting gigs. Mostly remote work, mostly finance adjacent. He's smart, measured, and surprisingly good at reading the room. Unlike Nadine, he never made digs about my job. If anything, we had a sort of polite distance. At family events, we'd chat briefly, usually about work. He always seemed to understand what I was building, even if we came from different industries. Things shifted about 2 months ago. We were at our parents' house for dinner. Just the 5 of us, me, Nadine, Miles, and our mom and dad. I mentioned, in passing, that my team had just wrapped a campaign for a luxury Swiss watch brand, and that we were flying to Copenhagen for a client shoot. Nadine didn't miss a beat. "Oh, so you're still peddling influencer watches?" She smiled like she'd said something witty, then kept eating. I didn't respond. No sarcastic comeback, no forced laugh. I just nodded. That moment stuck with me. Not because it hurt, I think I'd reached a point where it didn't anymore, but because it was the last time I gave her opinion any weight. A week later, our firm landed 2 major contracts back to back. One in luxury travel, another with a European skincare line. We were stretched thin and needed a strategy consultant, someone who could work closely with the creative team and help shape client pitches with a sharper edge. I kept thinking about something Miles had once said, probably a year earlier, during a casual conversation at a barbecue. He mentioned he was bored working with financial clients and would love to be part of a creative team, just once. Back then, I didn't think much of it, but now, it made sense. I didn't bring it up to Nadine. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't even ask around informally. I just messaged Miles the next morning and asked if he'd be open to taking on part-time strategy work with a boutique marketing firm. He said yes. We met for coffee the next day, went over the scope, and by the end of the meeting, I offered him a 6-month freelance contract. He accepted on the spot. We onboarded him quietly, under an internal project alias. It wasn't about hiding, at least not at first. I just didn't want family drama bleeding into my work life. Miles jumped in like he'd been with us from the start. By the end of his 2nd week, he'd already helped tighten 2 pitch decks and suggested a campaign angle that ended up landing us the skincare account. We're 5 weeks in now, and it's like he's been part of the team for years. He works remotely, joins virtual sessions, and sends voice memos